The knock came at 2:47 a.m., too soft to wake the neighbors, too deliberate to ignore. Claire froze in the hallway, Emily's small hand pressed tight against hers. "Mommy, he's home?" the child whispered, her voice trembling like wind through glass. But Michael wasn't due back for 3 more days. When Claire opened the door, her breath caught. There he was, suitcase in hand, eyes tired but empty, like someone rehearsing humanity. His embrace was cold, his heartbeat steady but wrong. "Trip ended early," he murmured, staring past her into the house. The scent of metal followed him in. "Upstairs," Emily's voice echoed. "Daddy, why are your shoes different?" The clock ticked louder. Outside, a dog barked once. Then, nothing. Claire's pulse beat against the silence, and for the first time in their marriage, she wondered if the man in her home was still her husband. Morning light seeps through the curtains, revealing Michael standing in the kitchen, already dressed, coffee untouched before him. Claire watches from the hallway, studying him. The way he stands too still, the way he doesn't hum while making coffee like he always did. When she greets him, his smile seems rehearsed. "You're up early," he says softly, voice a tone lower than she remembers. Emily skips in, hugs his waist and frowns. "Daddy, you smell funny." The words hang heavy. Michael kneels, forcing a laugh. "New soap," he replies, but his eyes flick toward Claire, uncertain, almost pleading. A moment later, the coffee maker hisses, releasing steam. And for a heartbeat, Claire swears she smells blood. Later that day, Claire finds Michael's old toothbrush still in the bathroom drawer, untouched. The one by the sink, a new one, black instead of blue. Her pulse races. When she calls his office, they tell her Michael never showed up after his trip. Panic flares, quickly swallowed by disbelief. At dinner, he talks about his meetings, names of people she's never heard before. Emily watches quietly, fork still in hand. "Daddy," she says softly, "why don't you remember my bedtime song?" Michael freezes. The air turns heavy again. That night, Claire dreams of the knock again. But this time when she opens the door, Michael's face is wrong. Lips sewn shut, eyes hollow. She wakes gasping, finding him standing beside the bed, staring down at her. "You were talking in your sleep," he whispers, voice low and strange. She glances at the clock. 2:47 a.m. again. He smiles faintly and returns to bed. Claire lies awake until dawn, heart pounding, wondering where her real husband went. Morning breaks with rain. Claire stands on the porch, watching water trail down the driveway. Michael's suitcase sits by the door, still unopened. She bends down, fingers brushing the latch, but stops as his voice echoes behind her. "Don't touch that." His tone cuts sharp, final. She straightens, meeting his stare, calm on the surface, burning underneath. For the first time, she sees something foreign in his eyes. "Michael," she whispers, "what happened to you out there?" He doesn't answer. Instead, he walks past her into the rain, vanishing behind the mist. Rain painted the windows in streaks of silver. As Claire sat alone at the table, scrolling through photos from the week, Michael was away. In one of them, his face was tagged by a coworker, Evelyn Hart. But something about the picture made her heart lurch. The background looked like a hotel room, yet the date on the post was 2 days after Michael said he returned home. When she confronted him that evening, he only smiled faintly and said, "You shouldn't believe everything online." His eyes didn't blink when he said it. That night, Claire deleted the picture, but not before noticing something haunting. Michael's reflection in the window behind Evelyn was facing the wrong way. The next morning, Claire drove Emily to school under gray skies. Her thoughts spun like the wipers sweeping across the windshield. When she returned home, Michael was already gone. His car keys were missing, but his phone lay on the counter, still unlocked, as if waiting. Inside his messages, she found one thread from an unsaved number. "We need to fix this before she knows." Another read, "You weren't supposed to come back." Her breath hitched. Then, the front door creaked open behind her. She turned slowly. Michael stood there, soaked, watching her with a look that wasn't his. Later that day, Claire sat across from Detective Cole Harris, a man whose tired eyes saw through lies like glass. He listened carefully as she explained her husband's strange return, her shaking hands tracing the timeline. When she showed him the photo, he frowned. "That was taken 2 nights after your husband's flight went missing in the storm," he said quietly. Claire's pulse froze. "Missing," she whispered. The detective nodded. "His plane never landed in Chicago. No survivors found yet." Outside, thunder rolled, echoing her scream in silence. When Claire returned home that night, the house smelled of burnt coffee and rain. Michael was waiting in the dark, sitting at the table with his suitcase now open beside him. "You went to the police," he said quietly. She froze, throat dry. "I had to," she whispered. His eyes narrowed. "You shouldn't have." He stood, stepping closer, his voice shifting. Deeper, colder. "You think I'm not your husband? But you're wrong, Claire." "I came back because I had to." The floorboards creaked under his feet. Then from inside the suitcase came a faint, buzzing sound, like a trapped phone or something alive. That night, Claire packed a small bag and drove to her sister's house, heart pounding with every passing mile. But halfway there, her phone buzzed. A message from Michael's number. "Come home, Claire. We need to talk. Please." She hesitated. Then another message arrived, this time from Detective Harris. "We found something. Don't go home yet." Lightning cracked across the sky. On the side of the road, a dark car idled with its headlights off. As she slowed, the driver's door opened, and Michael stepped out, smiling in the rain. Claire didn't sleep that night. She sat in Detective Harris' office, eyes red, hands shaking around a cup of untouched coffee. "You said you found something," she whispered. Harris slid a sealed envelope across the table. Inside was a photo, wreckage from the storm, twisted metal, burned seats, and a body bag marked Michael Dawson. "We confirmed the flight manifest," he said. "Your husband died 5 days ago." The words hung like smoke in the room. Claire's breath caught as she remembered the man's touch, his voice, his eyes. "Then who came back to my house?" she asked. Harris stared at her, face unreadable. "That's what we're going to find out." By evening, the police had sealed off her house for investigation. Harris ordered a forensic team to inspect the suitcase. Inside, they found blood-stained clothes, an unfamiliar passport, and a burner phone containing messages from Evelyn Hart. "He found out. Handle it." Claire's stomach turned. She watched through the window as the suitcase was lifted into evidence bags, her home now a maze of flashing lights. Harris approached her, voice low. "Who?" "Evelyn." Claire's lips trembled. "His cow worker," she whispered. "They weren't supposed to be on that trip together." Harris's gaze hardened. "Then maybe the man in your house isn't just pretending to be Michael. Maybe he's the reason Michael's gone." That night, Claire scrolled through Michael's old emails, searching for anything that might explain what happened. Most were routine, sales reports, itineraries. But one message stood out. It was from Evelyn, dated the day before the crash. "We can't keep lying. She deserves to know." The next line was stranger. "If something happens to us, they'll send someone?" Claire's heart pounded. Send someone. Who? She zoomed in on the email signature, a strange symbol, a spiral inside a triangle. Just then, her phone buzzed with a call. The caller ID read, "Evelyn Hart." "Claire," the voice said when she answered, soft but trembling. It's Evelyn. Claire's knuckles whitened around the phone. You were on that plane. Silence. Then Evelyn whispered, I was supposed to be, but he switched tickets. Her voice cracked. He said someone was watching him. Claire's pulse quickened. Then who came back? Evelyn's breath hitched. Not him. Something else. They told us there were people who could take memories, appearances. Her voice cut off suddenly. A deep static filled the line, then a single whisper. He knows you're listening. The call ended. Behind Claire, a floorboard creaked. Why mean? God's on me. When the police returned the next morning, they found the front door open and Claire missing. Only Emily's voice could be heard, calling softly from upstairs. Mommy said Daddy's. Not Daddy. Detective Harris found Claire's phone on the kitchen counter. The last photo taken just hours earlier. A close-up of Michael's face. His pupils were white, like mirrors. The timestamp read 2:47 a.m. again. Harris looked toward the dark staircase and whispered, Whatever he is, he's not done yet. Detective Harris didn't believe in ghosts, but the house felt wrong the moment he stepped inside. The air was too still, the ticking clock too loud. Upstairs, Emily sat on the edge of her bed, clutching her stuffed rabbit. He took Mommy, she whispered, but he said he loved us. Harris knelt down, voice gentle. Do you remember where they went? Emily shook her head, eyes fixed on the window. He said he wanted to show her where he came back from. Harris felt a chill crawl up his spine. That meant one thing, the crash site. Harris drove toward the crash site, with rain pattering on his windshield, following faint tire tracks that led off the main road. As he approached the ravine, the smell of wet earth and burned metal filled the air. Then he saw it, Claire's car, parked crooked near the wreckage tape, door still open. He called her name, voice echoing through the mist. A faint reply drifted back, or maybe the wind mimicked her tone. He stepped closer, flashlight beam trembling over twisted debris and shattered glass. Then in the mud, he saw two sets of footprints, one deep and dragging, the other running. Down in the ravine, Harris found Claire. She was alive but shaking, her hands covered in mud. He's gone, she whispered. But he said he'd come back again. Her voice cracked. He said he remembers everything now, even dying. Harris wrapped his coat around her and guided her up the slope. We'll get you safe, he promised. But as they reached the car, a man's voice echoed from below, soft and distant. Claire. It was Michael's voice. Unmistakable, but hollow, like it came from deep underground. Harris froze, staring into the fog. Get in the car, he ordered quietly. Hours later, Claire sat in the station wrapped in a blanket staring at the floor. He's not human, she said softly. He remembers too much. Harris studied her face. What do you mean? She lifted her eyes, hollow and distant. When he touched me, I saw it. The crash, the fire, the moment he died. He said he was given a second chance, but not by God. By something that wanted him to finish what he started. Harris leaned back, unease washing over him. And what was that? Claire's voice dropped to a whisper. To replace the man he used to be. That night, as Harris reviewed the case files in his office, a sudden knock made him glance up. Standing in the doorway was Michael. Or the thing wearing him. His clothes were clean now, his eyes unnervingly calm. Detective, he said, voice even. You shouldn't have brought her back. Harris reached for his gun, but Michael smiled faintly. You can't kill what's already dead. The lights flickered. In an instant, Michael was gone, leaving behind only a wet footprint on the carpet and a whisper that seemed to breathe through the walls. She's mine. The storm had passed, but the silence that followed was worse. Claire sat in a safe house under police guard, staring at the wallpaper as if afraid it might move. Harris paced beside her, phone pressed to his ear. Phone pressed to his ear. No leads, no sightings, the officer on the line said. But Claire wasn't listening. She could feel him, Michael, watching. The same electric pull in the air that haunted her every time the clock hit 2:47. Suddenly, the power flickered. The clock on the wall reset itself to that exact minute. Claire whispered, "He is here." Harris turned sharply, hand going for his gun. The lights cut out, and the room filled with the sound of a faint heartbeat that wasn't theirs. When the lights came back, Michael was standing in the doorway, drenched, smiling softly. "I told you I'd find you," he said. Harris aimed his weapon. "Stay right there." Michael raised his hands, calm. "You think I wanted this?" His voice trembled. "They brought me back to fix what I broke." Claire's voice cracked. "Who did?" Michael stepped closer, his face flickering between sorrow and something hollow. "The ones I owed. Every lie, every betrayal, they collect." His eyes glimmered faintly silver. "I cheated death, Claire. But death never forgets." Harris fired once. The bullet passed through Michael as if he were made of air. The man didn't flinch. Instead, the wound shimmered and closed, like ripples over water. "He's not alive," Claire gasped. "Not anymore." Michael looked at Harris with pity. "You can't hurt what's already paid for." Then he turned to Claire, voice softening. "You wanted to know the truth? I died in that crash because I was running from her. From Evelyn. She told them about us. I thought if I disappeared, no one would know. But they found me anyway." Harris stepped forward. "Who's they?" Michael's eyes darkened. "The ones who give second chances for a price." Michael knelt before Claire, tears mixing with rain. "They said if I came back, I'd make things right, that I'd confess. But the truth was never what they wanted." His voice broke. "They wanted you to see what I became." Claire shook her head, backing away. "You're not him," she whispered. "Michael would never hurt us." He looked up, pain flickering in his eyes. He already did. A sudden gust shattered the window behind him. Papers swirled through the air as Harris shielded Claire. When the glass settled, Michael was gone, leaving behind a single photo from their wedding. Soaked but unburned, the spiral triangle symbol scratched into the back. Later that night, Harris sat with Claire in silence, both staring at the photo. "If this is real," he said quietly, "then whoever brought him back, they're not done." Claire nodded weakly. "He said he was sent to finish what he started." Harris frowned. "And what was that?" Her voice barely rose above a whisper. "To make me pay for lying, too." Harris looked at her, confusion flickering in his eyes. Claire's tears fell silently. "I knew about Evelyn. I just pretended not to. Maybe that's why he came back." The room fell still. Outside, the wind carried a faint whisper that sounded like Michael's voice. Justice always finds its way home. By dawn, the storm had passed, leaving the town washed in pale silver mist. Claire stood by the window, hollow-eyed and silent. "He'll come back," she murmured. Harris checked his weapon, exhaustion carving deep lines into his face. "Then we'll be ready?" But Claire only shook her head. "You can't stop karma." Hours later, a call came in. An officer reporting strange activity at the crash site. Radios died mid-sentence, voices breaking up in static. Harris met Claire's gaze. "If he's there, this ends tonight." She nodded, gripping her coat. "Then we go where it started." They reached the crash site by nightfall. The forest was eerily still, trees dripping with moisture. Harris swept his flashlight across the wreckage, catching glints of twisted metal. "This is where they found the body," he murmured. Claire knelt beside a patch of scorched earth. He said he remembered this place. Then, a familiar voice broke the quiet. I hoped you'd come. Michael stepped out from the fog, pale and expressionless. His eyes shimmered faintly. You lied, Claire. You let me die, believing you were innocent. She rose slowly, heart pounding. Maybe we both deserve to lose each other. Harris raised his gun. Don't move. Michael smiled faintly. You don't understand what I am. The forest seemed to hum as he stepped closer. Every lie we tell leaves a mark. They found me, and they offered a trade. My life for my truth. Claire's eyes filled with tears. And what truth is that? Michael turned toward her, his voice breaking. That you stopped loving me long before I died. The mist pulsed as if alive, shadows rippling outward from him. Harris fired again, but the bullet froze midair before dissolving into dust. It's not your fight, Michael whispered. It's hers. The forest roared alive. Wind swirling, metal groaning. Michael fell to his knees, clutching his head. They're calling me back, he gasped. Claire approached cautiously. Then go, she whispered. Let the dead stay dead. He looked up, pain etched across his face. You don't understand. They won't take me alone. The ground split beneath them, revealing a faint crimson glow beneath the soil. Claire stumbled backward, gripping Harris's arm. Michael stood, his body flickering like static. If I can't live with the truth, he said softly, then neither can you. Claire met his eyes. Then maybe finally deserve each other. Michael reached for Claire, his voice breaking. One last chance. Tell me the truth. Tears streamed down her face. I did stop loving you, she whispered, trembling. But I never wanted you gone. He smiled faintly, a human smile this time. That's all I needed. The glow beneath them flared, then dimmed. Michael's body dissolved into mist, scattering into the night like smoke in wind. The forest grew silent again. Harris placed a hand on Claire's shoulder. It's over. She looked toward the wreckage, whispering, No, detective. Karma never ends. It just waits for the next lie. A week later, the forest was quiet again. The wreckage had been cleared and the ground covered with wildflowers that seemed to grow overnight. Claire watched from the edge of the ravine, holding a single white lily. Harris stood beside her, silence weighing between them. They called it natural gas ignition, he said finally. No one believes what happened? Claire smiled faintly. That's because they didn't see it. She placed the flower on the earth where Michael vanished. He wasn't evil, she whispered. He was lost. Harris nodded. And you? She looked toward the sky. I'm still finding my way back. Back home, Claire tucked Emily into bed. Is Daddy gone for good? The girl asked softly. Claire brushed a curl from her daughter's face. He's resting now, she said. Somewhere quiet. Emily nodded, eyes drooping with sleep. He told me he loves us, she murmured. Claire froze. When did he tell you that? Emily smiled faintly. Last night. He was standing by the window. Claire's heart pounded, but she forced a gentle smile. Dreams feel real sometimes, she whispered, though her gaze drifted to the window where the curtains swayed, even though the night was still. Later that night, Claire sat alone in the living room, nursing a cup of tea gone cold. The clock read 2:46 a.m. She waited, breath held. When the second hand clicked forward to 2:47, the lights flickered once. On the table, the wedding photo quivered slightly. Then a faint whisper brushed the air. Her name carried on a breath that wasn't hers. Michael, she whispered back. No answer came, only the gentle creak of the floorboards as if someone had just walked past her. She smiled through her tears. Rest now, she said. We're even. In the days that followed, life slowly returned to routine. Harris closed the case as unexplained phenomena. Claire returned to teaching, her laughter softer now, her silence deeper. But every night she left the porch light on, a habit she never broke. Sometimes neighbors said they saw a man standing by her garden at dawn, hands in his pockets, just watching the sunrise. When asked, Claire would only smile. Some debts aren't meant to be feared, she'd say. They're meant to be remembered. That evening, Claire wrote in her journal. One final entry. The truth destroyed us, but it also freed us. He came back not for revenge, but for forgiveness. And maybe that's what karma really is. Not punishment, but balance. She closed the book and turned off the lamp. Outside, the wind stirred gently, carrying a familiar scent of rain and metal. For a moment, she thought she heard a man's voice whisper, "Thank you." She smiled, eyes closing as peace finally settled in her chest. Somewhere beyond the quiet, the clock ticked softly toward a new beginning.